So when before I went to the weekend, where I was as a man, as I was a newly separated man. Actually, newly about 2 years. I've been married or in my marriage for 7 years, and I was struggling because first of all, I didn't want to get divorced, and I recognized it was either I get divorced or I was going to end up hurting myself or hurting my spouse. And the first time I was introduced to the weekend, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I looked into it. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm fine. I can figure it out. I don't need help because like at that point, I felt like if people really knew what was going on, they reject me. They think I was a fraud, all these things. And the first time I was introduced to it was when I was newly separated. Then 2 years later, I was introduced to the weekend again. And I was in a very low place. Like I found myself drinking every night heavily. To the point where I shouldn't have been driving. I should have been free of driving or operating any type of machinery. And really my intent was to hurt myself, to kill myself. I didn't feel like it was worth living. I just left my son and I thought that I was repeating the pattern that my dad had left for my family. And it was rough, man. It was rough. And man, it was, when I got that second opportunity, that second invitation to come to a weekend, I was like, okay, this must be something for me, because if I don't go to this, I'm most likely going to end up hurting and killing myself. And I remember going on the weekend and I had butterflies going up there the whole time. And I knew something must be coming because, like, I got to tell you, I had tried therapy. I had been in therapy with my wife. I had been in therapy for myself when my dad passed away. I thought I had done the work, and damn, I was way off base. That work that I did is credible, right? Like therapy and such, and going on the weekend, I was able to touch a piece of myself that I was running from. And it was a piece that cracked open the casing, man, for other pieces that I was running from. And it helped me see myself. And I think that looking on it now and telling the story, the biggest piece for me was that it gave me a space to work through this, because like I had been to therapy and the talk therapy, but going through some of the processes and the interactions and then having a space to connect with other men. Because growing up and even in my adult life, I didn't have that type of connection with the men that I have now. That I didn't have that type of connection with my friends, my brothers, my dad. And going to the weekend, I was able to let myself go in the presence of men and be vulnerable and say, hey, I need help. And then the great thing was for me was to see that other men were experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing. Because I thought, like, I can't tell anybody about this. They'll think I'm freaking crazy. They'll think like, man up, or like, figure it out, man. You got this. Like, don't worry about it. It's not a big thing. That's what it is to be a man. And all these what do they call them? Like these sayings that people put out there about when men are going through a tough time, like, man up or get over it. And really, I recognized that there's emotion that's in there. There was emotion that was living in my body. There was dis-ease that was living in my body because at that time, I had yet to figure out a vehicle to express these things, man, to talk through these things, to see like how, I said before, like I was drinking heavily, like what was sparking the drinking? What was sparking my emotions to drink? Like my feelings of being unworthy, my feelings of being less than. And those were the things like I was trying to cover up. And I recognize now, I mean, this year is wild to think that, 6 years ago in May will be my 6-year anniversary that I went to the weekend. And I find that it's been pivotal for me to learn and be in these spaces where I can do my work.